You are watching
I just
Xirtus.
went on a deep dive recently with like old ass David Icke interviews. They are
Nice.
some heavy stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In the day, man. He's got
yeah,
like maps. He's got like maps and he's showing like all the
yeah,
arrows everywhere.
Yeah, now he's just tired. He's just like, bro, I've been telling you guys for
It's
so
all an
long, and
illusion. It's
now it's
all a
coming
lie.
true, and everyone's just like, oh,
Yeah.
David Icke was right all along. Like, yeah,
yeah.
Oh.
It's heavy stuff.
not about
Yeah.
everything.
No, but that's good. I don't know if you want to continue on that route, Chris. That's actually kind of interesting. What
Yeah.
else did you get out of that?
All right, so the big interview was between him and this lady Arizona Wilder. I tried to look into her, like where she's at. I think she's gone. Like I think she's passed away or something. But she's supposedly a SRA, a satanic ritual abuse survivor. She was used for various rituals of like kinds of like torture and breeding programs and all sorts of crazy weird stuff. And it gets like really heavy when she starts like mentioning like Prince Charles and like Princess Diana, because this was an interview from back in like 97.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I was so intrigued, because I'm like, they're saying like the same shit. That's, you know, nothing's really
What's been going on?
changed.
Yeah.
The reptilians and their agenda. And you know, it's like
That's the heart of it, really. Is like,
yeah.
Why would it change?
Yeah. But then, you know, like there's also the idea that this whole thing is comprised of like the upper echelons of our society, like so high up we couldn't even conceive of it. All sorts of crazy stuff.
Well,
an order of 9.
I think I mentioned it before, but like the royal family is related to Vlad the Impaler by their own account, and that means that Dracula is related to the fucking monarchy. And I don't know what that means, but it raises an eyebrow. They claim that they're related to Jesus Christ and to Vlad the Impaler, both of them.
It could all be possible. I mean, there's a
also what that they're saying is that Vlad the Impaler descends for more closely than you do and I, or the royals at this point, to Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is
Vlad gets a bad name also.
Well, you know, but you know,
I feel like
drip.
You know how people are going to remember George Bush and Dick Cheney as like people who wrote that down, and when you read it in 100 years, no one will remember. You know what I mean? Like history will tell.
Yeah. Well,
right.
That's
and Trump or someone else might go down in history as Orange Man bad. You know, I feel like it's unfair to Vlad the Impaler, right?
I don't know, man. Like there's the official accounts, of course. But there's a mimetic legacy behind.
Seems like Duterte, you know, like also Duterte in the Philippines. You know, he's kind of like Vlad the Impaler. Like he just cleans up bubblegum streets. You know, he picks all the bubblegum from underneath the table. That's all he's doing.
You know,
he's using 9-inch nails to do it. But a lot of kids are. You know,
it could be that the whole mythologization of Vlad the Impaler is a propaganda thing, like a historical propaganda, but it could also be that there is some truth somewhere, and it might be that this is kind of like with Santa Claus, like, you know, they took St. Nicholas and then they turned it on its head into a consumer product, but when it comes,
he was kind of screwed up. Like apparently he liked to torch the rats as a kid, which is always a bad sign.
He was royalty. He was royalty. Yeah. Royalty is usually pretty.
I mean, I don't know if I buy it from this specific account, but supposedly like a lot of those holidays that we knew are actually just like inverted reflections of what it really is, which is like these like seasonal cyclical rituals for acquiring power and communing with forces beyond.
Well, like, so Halloween's interesting, right? Because that's Samhain, which is, you know, Halloween is evening, so the holy evening, which is before All Saints Day, right?
All Hallows Eve, yeah.
Yeah, the holy night before the Saints Day. So Saints Day is an interesting holiday, November 1st, and it's weird because people don't really celebrate it or like consider it. It's really interesting that Halloween exists without, because it's like saying Christmas Eve without Christmas Day to not have the Saints Day. But Saints Day is probably as important as Christmas, really, in terms of them being the same idea. Like everyone who's a saint is technically part of like the Romans 8:17 like co-heirs of Christ that are ascended. So it's basically like the same as Christ's birthday. And most people aren't using it as that holiday, but it has a very magical point because it's also around the world at the time when numerous different religions, particularly the Celtic, but also in South America, the Quechua do this. They have like an 8-day period around that time where they think that the spirits can come up and down from under the world, you know, between the realms.
Yeah.
And
the veil is the thinnest.
The veil is the thinnest, right? And there's multiple religions that think this. I forget if the Aborigine are in on this or the Maori, but one of the, like, and even in Polynesia, just really far-flung places have the same tradition as Germanic Celts do, and that idea.
What's interesting though is like assuming these spirits and entities exist and they are channeling like something that's non-human and it's of intelligent like origin. What's interesting is that throughout all these instances, what's clear is that they need humans. Like humans are like this element of the whole mechanism of summoning, of conjuring, of channeling. People are like the most important thing within all of the rituals and ceremonies and all that.
Well, sure, but the, you know, the moon. Let's not discredit the moon here. You know?
I think
all of nature. It's all us with nature, right?
But
so
the moon,
like we are the key.
The moon and the sun are being used to probably. I mean, even if you don't believe in spiritual things, you can say that the moon and the sun are the reason why certain energies or radiations or EMF is high enough frequency to have more. You're getting more solar radiation, and maybe that alone is causing what people are thinking is spirits or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's still something that's like noticeable or observable.
And you notice how like a lot of those old school deities and rituals and ceremonies are very concerned with fertility, because if you want to consider like cyclical things and like needing people, I guess fertility becomes like a huge thing. So maybe maybe like, you know, solar rays can really affect us in ways. It's like, hey, we just have less kids or whatever.
You know who doesn't like Vlad the Impaler? Like people who really don't like Dracula, I think would be like the Muslims, right? Because he killed a lot of Muslims. Like that was his thing.
Yeah. But what's crazy is as far as the rituals go, to like try to like tap into spirits and, you know, especially during times when the veil is thinnest, I think that has the most historical precedence from what I know would be like ancient Egypt, right? When they do their rituals with Horus, Isis and Osiris, and that whole the whole pattern of like, I think fratricide and like sexual abuse, and that's kind of the patterns they're tapping into throughout all these like rituals to tap into like the higher whatever dark forces. I don't know.